935 KDAY, Noah at Night. Interviews like this are always the dopest because he was just randomly here kicking it. And then E-Man runs in right now. He's like, yo, do you want to interview my next guest? And I was like, hell yeah, because I'm a huge fan. In the building, Aloe Blacc.
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. So, first of all, I've been down for a minute.
Yeah.
Since you've been spitting.
Okay.
And then what really did it for me, I'm not going to lie, I think I'm like a lot of people, what really made me a big fan, I feel like, was How to Make It in America theme song.
Yeah, I Need $1. Mm-hmm.
Was there like, did that change everything for you?
It changed everything for me. The song became a cult classic out of France. France started calling me up to do TV shows, radio shows, magazine covers. And then from there, England started picking up on it, and Germany was like, okay, we should sign this guy. So then all of my career really started blossoming in Europe. I spent a lot of time over there, and then some of the major labels here in the US started to catch wind. They're like, okay, and Jimmy Iovine was still at Interscope at the time. His guys, Larry Jackson and John Eman, signed me and brought me into the major label system here in the US.
Was that weird for you? Because you were grinding on the underground. Because Cali, we got a very, I guess, unique underground hip hop circuit.
So the way I see it is like, you know, in Cali, the underground hip hop circuit was like, do it yourself. In New York, everybody was like, I need to get signed. On the West Coast, we're like, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to press our own tapes. We're going to record it, mix, master, do all of our own artwork, and then slang them at clubs, night, and on the street, consignment at stores. That's how we did it.
Right.
That was the West Coast grind. And I grew up doing that in hip hop. So when I ended up getting signed to Stone's Throw, it was like, I already kind of know this underground thing. I didn't have really a foot in the major label system. But eventually, you know, when it did happen, it was strange. Like, okay,
right.
Now it's a bigger muscle, a bigger machine doing all the things that I used to do on my own. And I had to like ease back and kind of let the pros do what they do.
Was that difficult at first?
It was difficult because, you know, I'm like, we need this to go right now. But, you know, at the major labels, they have multiple artists. I was up against, in terms of runway, Lady Gaga, Maroon 5,
Ooh,
and Black Eyed Peas, right? So here I come, Aloe Blacc, like I'm low man on the totem pole. They're gonna get budgets and runway before I do. Luckily though, Larry Jackson is just the man, and so is John Eman. He was at Jimmy's house. He was playing him the new music, and Jimmy was like, yo, I love this song, The Man. I want to put it in my Beats by Dre commercial. So he called me up and he was like, I'm going to put it in the commercial. What do you think? I was like, come on, just do it. Right. You don't have to ask me what I think. And so they put it in the commercial, and that, and, you know, the rest is history. Like it made a hit out of a song that ultimately could have never had a runway. But, you know, Larry was that guy and Jimmy was that guy that just said, yep, this is what we're going to do.
Right. I feel like we were all proud of you because I think sometimes, like when sometimes our underground MCs blow up, you know, a lot of us as hip hop heads, we're like, oh man. But I feel like with that one, it was so well deserved, and we just felt like it was so long overdue. So to just see that song in every commercial, and then, you know, once it's in a Beats commercial, then all the movies hop on, the TV shows hop on, radio hopped on finally. It was dope to see.
It gave me a lane. It established my voice, and then from there, I started getting a lot of, you know, requests for collaborations, and then a lot of different commercials wanted to use other music because my voice became then a voice of, you know, television commercials or TV shows. So it just keeps me available to an audience at all times at this point.
When you made that transition from like rhyming to singing, was it gradual? Was it natural?
Super
Did you
gradual.
always know you could sing? Or
Super
was it...
gradual. My sister's the singer of the family, and, you know, I didn't ever expect myself to be singing. I was always emceeing. Mm-hmm. But when I had I think right after I graduated from college, you know, I went into corporate America, and when I got laid off, I started experimenting with a bunch of different things. The homies were tripping. They were like, what are you doing? Why are you singing? This doesn't sound good at all. And it wasn't, you know, to be honest.
Do we know any of these homies?
Yeah, you know them all. Like all the close homies in the crew.
So like all Cali Wild, all of them, like.
You know, some of them appreciated it.
Right.
But, you know, Ono gave me a chance. He was like, go ahead and sing on my record. You know, Ono, Madlib's younger brother.
Right.
And then I ended up getting signed to Stone's Throw. They were like, we kind of dig the singing. Let's do it. Peanut Butter Wolf was with it. So I said, okay, I'm going to I'm gonna do this. At the same time, I had just out of the, no pun intended, out of the blue, went to an underground hip hop night and saw this kid Blue rapping, and I was like, he's amazing. I need to introduce him to Exile tomorrow.
Oh, so you made that connection.
Yeah, so then I was like, X, can we let's go to Long Beach, let's go meet with this young rapper. And at the time, he was also clicked up with Miguel, who ended up becoming a famous singer, right?
Miguel.
So we all started hanging out. Blue then started recording with Exile. I was like, you know what? Blue is way better MC than I am. I'm gonna do this singing thing real quick. And I went to Stone's Throw and started, creating every genre you could imagine. I was doing everything from salsa to dance music to folk songs to R&B, and eventually I did that Throwback Soul with I Need $1, and it took off.
Damn, that song. I mean, from the first listen, I think everybody knew just as soon as that first piano chord comes in, you're like,
it works.
That's the one.
And it was a good look for me because I wasn't really hip to the concept of like doing too many genres on one project. kept this new audience from learning who I was. Right. I had a hip hop fan base. They knew who I was as an MC. Going and doing a multi-genre album at that time, before
it became cool
this is
to
before it was the wave, before we had streaming, right? Before everybody had multiple genres in there. There wasn't even a media player back then. You had cassettes, you had CDs.
Right.
It just, I think, threw people for a loop. But then when I did Good Things and I solidified like, oh, you're a throwback soul singer, it really gave me an identity. Mm-hmm. And that's what took off in France. They loved it. And it just it communicated all across Europe. Dope.
So you dropped a new project top of the year, right?
This year I dropped a single with the late Avicii called SOS. And I haven't done any hip hop projects and I haven't done my solo albums. I've done this whole year a lot of collaborations. So that kind of opened up the door to a full year of collaborations with different dance artists.
I was about to say, you've been working with dance artists. So has dance music really been inspiring you lately? Like
some of it has, some of it is really ill. I remember listening to Swedish House Mafia, Don't You Worry Child, and I thought I could write that. I could do that. And then Tim Avicii gave me the opportunity, and we did it in a major way. Like, there's no denying, "Wake Me Up" was one of the biggest songs of the time and of all time. So
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't working at KDAY when that song came out. It was right before I got hired at KDAY. At my old radio station, we played that song so fucking much. I hated you for a short amount of time.
Wow, I mean,
because we played it so much. I was like, if I gotta hear this song one more time,
it was wild. I mean, there was definitely that saturation. Like, it's too much.
Did you ever hear that song so much you got tired of it? Or like you were like, nah, that's me on the box. I'm shining right now.
I can't say that because it did buy a couple of houses. So I wouldn't say I'm tired of it, but I would say that there's got to be room for something else, and someone's got to come up with something that's gonna remove this and better it.
Right.
What's the next step? I remember when the CeeLo and that whole Gnarls Barkley project, Crazy was topping the charts like crazy. It was wild in England. They actually called all the radio stations, were like, stop playing it. And so I thought, would I ever do that? And then when the checks came in, I was like, nah.
I'll let this ride.
I'm not that cool.
But well deserved though. Nobody can be mad at you though, man, because we saw the hard work. We saw what led up to that.
Hip hop gave me the facility with words. I got my lyricism from hip hop, and that really was what gives me a chance. Whenever I walk into a songwriting room, I'm gonna write circles around a gang of the other cats just because I have that.
Right.
And then I can actually vocalize it too. It's a game changer when you can sing your own tracks.
Dope. Now you have a new project coming out, right?
I've got a new album that'll drop next year. But there is a hip hop album that I have with Exile called Bird's Eye View. We've been sitting on it for a while. The idea is that, from the bird's eye view, we see how the world is being is being manipulated, how media is being manipulated, how politicians are working,
Right.
just how the games are working, right? Like a chessboard that you're looking at. And we've got songs on there that touch on, you know, a lot of topics that you don't necessarily hear in hip hop. I don't think I've ever heard a song in hip hop on genocide. So I visited the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is right next to Rwanda. So, you know, going to places and seeing all these things that I have experienced give me the opportunity to write new songs. But we have to also make it dope. It has to be dope. The beat has to be crazy.
Right.
The flow has to be top notch, and then the lyrics have to be, you know,
well, that's
visual.
what I'm so curious about, because I mean, I'm very familiar with Exile, I'm very familiar with you, but now to see you two come together years later,
yeah,
the evolution has to be crazy.
I think it's still familiar, it's still wholesome, like where we come from, but we've learned so much over the years. The evolution is
Right.
really, really dope.
Right.
And Exile is really great on the MPC. What I've been trying to get him to do is learn all the other projects, all the DAWs, like, you know, get on Logic. So he's starting to mess with Logic and understand that. We've known Pro Tools for years, but we never used it as a production tool.
Right.
And just, you know, giving him access so that when time comes, we can go into any studio and you don't have to worry about what production equipment is there. We're gonna kill it no matter what.
Dude, I'm thoroughly excited. This is a man that introduced Blue to Exile. He's responsible for Below the Heavens, the classic.
Blue is responsible for Below the Heavens.
Nah, you're responsible.
The kid is amazing. He's really one of my favorite MCs, and it was a pleasure to see that whole development and see the growth. It was to see Exile, how he works with MCs and really turns them into bona fide, like, legendary kind of artists that can hold their own and go on and create new movements. I think it's great. And I met him when I was 15. So we worked together for a cool 10 years solid before I went on to start doing my solo stuff. And, you know, he's my brother. So we're going to continue to make music together. And, you know, it's for me, it's not a competitive thing anymore. As an MC, yeah, I was competitive. I would battle. I would be in ciphers. But for me now, it's an art form that I just want to keep pure. So I'm glad that I get to do singing to earn my paycheck and not have to try to make money off of hip hop, you know?
I feel like singing got to be fun too, though. I wish I knew how to sing. Like,
singing is mad fun. I mean, like, to be able to do, you know, acoustic set with, look at it this way. Like, Richard Branson's team is hitting me up to go to his island to go and sing for him and his people. I can do that with a guitar and not have to, you know, I don't need to go with the DJ and be like, we're check 1, 2, yo, check my bars, Richard, check my bars. No, right?
your nose.
But so, but I can go and sing something too. He has a group called The Elders, which is like, it started with him, Desmond Tutu, Nelson Mandela. You know, these are like the thought leaders and
they got a band?
No, not a band.
I thought they had like a group.
But I'm saying, like, they invite me because of the kind of words that I sing and that I write. So this is, and that I can perform. So, you know, hip hop got me there, but singing is getting me to stratosphere. You know what I'm saying? Right.
It's dope, man. I'm happy to see you win. I want the progress to continue. Aloe Blacc.
Yeah.
He got a project coming out.
Bird's Eye View. You got to listen. Check for Bird's Eye View.
Is there anything else that I missed or that you want to hit on?
And also go check for Dystopia. I put it on aloeblack.com for free because why not? Like I said, I'm not trying to compete in that sense. You can go to Spotify and Apple Music and stream it there as well. But if you want to download it and just have it, you know, go to aloeblack.com and it comes up on the homepage.
Well, that's what it is. Thank you for your time, man. Aloe Blacc in the studio, Noah at Night, 935 KDAY.